A new Predator movie has landed, but does Badlands follow on from the critical success of Prey, or does this bold new direction fail to deliver? Let's discuss this and more on the Late Night Movie Podcast. Welcome back to the Late Night Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Welchy, and joining me tonight, as always, is Mr. Pop Figures himself, Andy.
Hello, guys. Pleasure to be back. Excited to talk about this film. Had it on my list at the start of the year, so yeah, excited to get into it.
This is on it is your Rotten Tomatoes list, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. And also joining us is our resident horror expert, Stephen.
Yes, hello everybody. Nice to be back as always. And yeah, look forward to discussing Predator Badlands. I think this is going to be a good review.
I think it should be. I mean, I don't know, what is your both history with Predator? Have you seen all of them?
I haven't, no.
Okay.
I've only started recently getting more into Alien and Predator films over the last few years or so.
What about you, Stephen?
I've seen them all.
Yeah, cool. Same as me. Apart from, you haven't seen Killer of Killers, right? The new animated one.
I've not seen that one, no. But in terms of, I've seen the Arnie Schwarzenegger original Predator, Predator 2 with, I want to say Danny Glover.
Yeah.
The Robert Rodriguez Predators, but I have to revisit that because I watched it when it came out. I didn't think I liked it, but I think it's one that will grow on me when I rewatch it. And again, I did see Prey. Me and Andy were talking about this when we came out of the screenings. We watched it together. And I said that I remember watching it when it came out. Was it 2019 or 2022?
I think it was
Prey?
COVID. I want to say 2020 or 2021.
Okay. Because I remember watching it at the time. But again, I've got to revisit Prey because I don't remember. And I think if I remember right, I really enjoyed the first Predator. And I did enjoy Prey, but the other Predator movies for me have not landed. I've always looked at Alien as being the superior one out of the two. And I do have a massive soft spot for the first Alien v Predator film because they're kind of connected.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm more Team Alien.
Prey is 2022. You're right.
It was 2022.
It must have been.
Andy was right.
Yeah.
Who was right? Andy was right. Did you say 2022?
Yeah, I thought it was 2019. So I was wrong. All right.
Yeah, I've seen them all. I watched the whole franchise of Alien and Predator last year. So I was new to it all last year, but now I consider myself a fan, I guess. I
late
think I say a fan.
bloomer, but
I kind of agree with you. I liked Predator 1 and 2. I did like number 2. I liked Predators, actually. I think, when I think about it, I think I do prefer the Predator franchise slightly. I think they got more hits than misses compared to Alien. But the Predator, which is the one after Predators, I think, I did not like that at all. That's the only one I would consider. And apart, I don't like the Alien versus Predator either. But anyway, let's move on to our review. Tonight, we are going to be diving deep into our thoughts of the latest entry into the Predator universe. This movie is once again directed by Dan Trachtenberg, that's what I'm going to call him, who also directed recent entries such as Prey and Predator Killer of Killers. It's almost like they've just given him the keys to the franchise now. That's three movies in a row. I know one of them's animated, but it still counts. This is his first cinema release of the three. The other two obviously were straight to...
Yeah, Prey came straight to Disney Plus,
and so did Killer of Killers. Or in the US, it might have been Hulu or something. This features Elle Fanning and, bear with me here, Demetrius Schuster Kolo Amatangi. I think I've actually done all right there.
Hey,
got that right.
I think I've done all right.
That was very good.
The Letterboxd description reads like this. First hunt, last chance. Cast out from his clan, a young predator finds an unlikely ally in a damaged android and embarks on a treacherous journey in search of the ultimate adversary. Which is pretty simple and is pretty much the crux of the story. Budget of this film. Anyone want to have a guess? Andy, what do you reckon the budget for Predator Badlands was?
I feel like it would have been a decent budget, but I usually get these way out. I'm going to say like 80 million.
Stephen?
I'm going to go slightly a bit higher. I think it had a fairly big budget. Maybe 110 million.
Oh, okay. So this did break the record apparently for a Predator movie. 105. Very close, Stephen.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yay, we're right today.
Box office so far to date, 136.
Okay.
Decent.
So considering it's been out a week and a bit,
Came out last Friday, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So it's coming up to a week and a half. It's not bad. Hopefully they can
That's
reach the
good.
200. That'd be good for them, I think. Double their money, which I think they probably need to do just to become profitable
I mean,
anyway.
they've already made more than what their budget was, but it's a small win at the moment. So I
Yeah.
reckon it's gonna be classed as a success. Just shows that the hype around sort of Prey and Predator Killer of Killers is high. Because for a Predator movie, that's really good in its first sort of 9 days.
I think so. I'm hoping that
Mm,
it's going to do well and they can continue with Predator, which I don't think Predator will ever really go away because
no.
even if it was to fail, in about 10 years' time, they'll be like, you know what? Let's try again.
Just
So
another. Yeah.
it will never
Yeah.
fully disappear
They've
anyway.
they've changed how the Predator mutated from like the very original one of Arnie. So if it starts not working, they can just mutate it and try Predator in a different sort of way. So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of this franchise.
And this was a very different take on Predator, which I can't wait to get into in a minute.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes score, 85, Andy. So well done.
Yeah.
Another
I'm very
good
happy.
score. Another good score for you. But the audience score is 95.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Very, very good. But both on the critics and audience side, very, very good
Yeah,
scores.
yeah, 85 is definitely a very good score, but 95 is
Is it that
fantastic.
because Prey got a high score, didn't it?
Yeah,
I
Prey
think that
actually
was in the 90s.
Prey
wasn't it?
did better critically, but worse audience.
Yeah.
So 94 critically, which is fantastic,
It-
obviously.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know if that was part of the cinema release as well, because watching Badlands on the big screen is obviously a lot
Different to
better.
watching it on a screen. Yes, I
Yeah,
completely
I
agree.
wonder if Prey was a cinema release, whether that would have boosted the audience score a bit.
It's a good
It would
point.
have been in the cinema because 2022 was sort of when things were
I don't think I
relatively.
think films were coming back, but this one specifically
It came
wasn't.
straight out on Disney
Yeah.
Plus. I remember
Oh,
literally
it didn't get a
dropping.
cinema release.
Yeah, this one just
Ah,
this nothing to do with cinemas being shut or anything. They just didn't.
it just went straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I'm assuming then Prey's the highest Rotten Tomatoes score than all of the other Predator movies because I don't think any of them got anywhere near that. I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
I'd be surprised. So the original Predator got 64.
Yeah,
Predator 2 got 36. Ooh.
yeah. I didn't like Predator 2 at all, but
Predators? I can't find Predators on here.
I think that would have done even worse.
The Predator got 34. And then, or actually, technically, Predator Killer of Killers is the best with 95.
Okay.
Slightly higher. Alien versus Predator 21. And one of the worst movies I've watched in my life, Alien versus Predator Requiem 12.
Yeah.
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 Cannot stand that movie.
The original Alien v versus Predator movie I remember
It's
watching at the
better.
time. I kind of enjoyed it, but Alien vs Predator Requiem was just I couldn't wait for that movie to end. It still to this day makes absolutely no sense. You could watch the whole movie and still have no clue what the fuck is going on. I think I remember rightly, it was shot so badly that you could barely
It
see
was so
the
dark.
alien
So
or the
dark.
Predator.
Yeah.
It was an absolute shower of shit.
So Predators has 65. So it's actually
Oh, okay.
in the top 4. It's slightly better than the original Predator, which will probably piss off like what do you call like the original fans who think, oh my god, number 1 is always the best.
Yeah.
But obviously not, according to critics anyway. Letterboxd score of 3.6, which is definitely
Very good.
decent.
Yeah.
On its way up to a high score. Run time of 107 minutes according to Letterboxd, and it felt pretty snappy to me. Didn't feel like it
Felt
was
shorter than
overstayed
that.
its welcome.
Yeah.
Let's get on to our thoughts. Obviously, we've heard what the critics think, but we're more important here at the Late Night Movie Podcast.
Absolutely.
I watched this on Thursday night, so about 6 days into its release. I thought I was going to be on my own in the cinema at one point, and then this couple came in, went to the back row. I was like, "Yeah, you do your thing." And then these 3 blokes come
You
in.
do your thing.
This was the. I'm pretty sure they probably were doing their thing. This was a sorry for my cough, by the way. I will try and mute myself more. But it was a small screening. Like I don't know how many seats there
Yeah.
were, but not many. And these 3 blokes come in, and they come onto my row and sat literally the 3 next to me. And I was like,
Yeah.
Oh,
this is up. And that no one else came in. So this was just us 4 people and the 2 at the back.
Yeah.
And I got to a
Okay.
point where I was like, it's
Start
too
moving.
awkward for me to move. I look rude by
Yeah.
moving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the whole way through the advert, as they were talking, the whole way through, and I was like,
oh.
I'm not really that confrontational. Do I say something if they carry on through the film? Do I just get up and
Yeah.
move? Both being rude, but probably less confrontational one way. Anyway, luckily they literally shut up as soon as the film started. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I can't complain. I don't
Yeah.
mind. I'd rather you not sit next to
Like,
me, but I can't complain.
I've literally had that because I go to a lot of late night screenings, and 95% of the time I have basically the whole back row, or I'm normally on like the second to furthest row. But sometimes I've been in situations like Alien, Romulus was a prime example, that on my row there was like a group of teenagers at the very end that just wouldn't shut up through the entirety of the film. But it gets to the point that you're like, if you then get confrontation, I'm not confrontational as well. Are they going to then turn on me and it become really nasty? Or I was like, do I go to the toilet and then come back and then sit
Sit
somewhere
somewhere
else,
else.
but do it really subtly? But you start like second guessing in your mind, and sometimes that can detract you away from the film. So I think if I was in that situation on a row with three people just not stopping talking, I probably would just subtly get up, make it look like I'm leaving, but then just sit somewhere else.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I
Tough
didn't,
one
didn't
though.
even think of that, but that would have actually been a good idea of just
But
pretending
when
to
you're on
go
your
up.
own, you really start overthinking it. Like
Yeah.
if it's like me and Andy, like we've literally said to people before, you need to stop talking, or we've been about to, and then somebody else has said it. But when you're on your own, you've got no backup. Sometimes I'm like, is it really worth it? Like
Well,
causing a
yeah.
problem, causing a scene.
I can't remember what me and Beth was watching, but we had some kids in front of us and they started vaping. And I was like,
Yeah, I remember you
Beth's
telling
like,
me this.
no, don't say anything. And I was like, there's literally fucking smoke coming up from their seats. So I literally told them, like, I was like, can you stop vaping, please? And then halfway through the film, they got up and left. So it's like,
Because they weren't allowed to vape.
so, yeah, maybe.
You
You
told
know.
them
Yeah,
off,
I was
Andy.
like, I was like, this is not a film that's got smoke effects in it, babe.
Yeah.
I was like,
This
I'm
is
not going to
40x.
like, there's like a cloud of smoke coming up in front of us. It's like, yeah.
I know we've got to go to review, but
Yeah.
there's a wider point when it regards to people's behaviour and code of conduct in cinemas. Sometimes the code of conduct is absolutely shocking. People texting, actually taking calls while the movie is on. I've had that before. And it's like, it's simple behaviour in a cinema. When the film starts, shut the fuck up and just focus on the film.
I noticed
Yeah.
the guy directly next to me. You probably know, or you would have noticed, this film takes quite a while for the Predator Badlands like logo to come up on the screen. Like it's
Well, at the
Yeah.
start,
it's not until he actually gets to this new planet, and then it comes up Predator
yeah.
Badlands.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw him quickly get his phone out and take a picture of it. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, I
Yeah.
don't know if he's
That
got like
pops up at the end again, though, as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, but he was like, obviously wanted to either
Yeah.
going to just post it on
Yeah.
socials, or he's got a podcast
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
And I thought, oh, okay.
Steven took a picture of it as well,
Yeah.
but the end one. Just to let you know, we missed Steven's fault, missed part of the intro to the film. So I don't know how much I missed of it because I jumped out. Steven was still trying to park.
Yeah. Whoa, hang on a minute. Let's just clarify one thing, right? You say it's my fault, right? It was
Well, you
really...
decided to go to CEX before the
So
cinema, so
short story, basically, what you hear, right? I notoriously have such a bugbear of missing the start of the film. So it only happened once when we went to see Thor Ragnarok, and our other friend took a massive detour, and we walked in as the opening credits started, and I hate that. I like being in my seat just as the trailer's starting, and then I take a picture for my social when when it comes up with the name of the film and the ratings. So.
Yeah.
I decided to go to CX to sell my PS5, as I've recently got the pros mentioned on the Late Night Gaming podcast. But we're getting to that time of year now where traffic is just absolutely mental. What should have taken me no more than 40 minutes took me an hour and a half from leaving house to get to CX. So by the time I got Andy, we had 10 minutes to go before the trailers started. But we were like, well, as long as we get to it by this set time, we should just about do it. But I then got caught up in further traffic. So I didn't actually get sitting in my seat till 1:15 for a 12:40 showing. So I imagine I missed maybe 10 minutes. But traffic was mental. I mean, I left mine an hour and 45 before. If I left any earlier, it would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
But now that we get to that time of year, I've got if it's not at an evening, but if it's an afternoon screening, I've got to allow myself more time because traffic was just absolutely mental. We got to where we needed to be at a time where we would have made it, but it was that extra delay on the one-way system and traffic and people being nutty. But it really annoyed me. Really annoyed me.
And then we got to the car park, and they obviously had some sort of market on in the car park, so there was no space.
I ran 5 times, and I said, Andrew, just get out of the car, right? Otherwise, you're going to miss loads. And then I'll just park up, find a space, and then I literally just pegged it to the cinema. So I took a picture at the end because I didn't have my picture at the start, which I don't normally do.
So
yeah,
if you missed
Yeah.
the picture at oh, you mean
No.
literally the start?
He's-
Okay,
I
so
wouldn't
Yeah.
have done that because the film's starting. It would be rude, in
fine.
my opinion, to
Got
take my
you.
phone out.
Yeah.
But we got to the bit that I got to is when
Well,
he
be
was
careful. I was going to
in,
say,
like,
let's do that in the spoiler
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
just in case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's basically just him going to the eye, which is not really a spoiler because you mentioned when he goes to that new bit. It was just the start of that. So we're curious to know how much we actually.
Oh, you missed a fair
missed.
chunk.
I saw more than I
Yeah.
saw a bit more.
Okay.
I'll
We'll get into that
explain
in the
when we go
spoiler.
into.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
So-
But yeah.
Let's go
Okay.
into our initial thoughts, spoiler free. What do we think of the film? Andy, what is
Yes.
your thoughts and what score would you give it out of 10?
Okay, so I was quite optimistic going into this film just because I did like Prey. Obviously the ratings of this film was good. I had chosen it as my Rotten Tomatoes game, and then when I saw the reviews and stuff, I was like, okay, audience score being higher, I was like, that's great. Sometimes you get a film that's critically bad and the audience score is higher, so you don't mind so much. You think, oh, okay, you're gonna love it. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this film. I thought there was a lot of action. I liked the main Predator guy, Dex, or is that how you say it? Deck. I thought he was a cool character. I like how it starts off that he's not the biggest and the baddest predator in the planet that he goes to, and I like the way that he learns and adapts to his environment as the film goes on. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the sort of companionship he has with Dia, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to begin with, she's overly a bit too excited and a bit too sort of full on. I don't really know how to describe it, but as the film goes on and on and on, I sort of start to enjoy the sort of friendship that they have, I guess, the sort of companionship that they have, and then the other sort of characters and creatures that sort of join them on and their roles that they play in this film, and the sort of the family bond that he sort of gets, especially after the intro to this film, which I'm going to more in sport a bit. But yeah, it felt like we was in, I know we missed a bit at the start, but it felt like we was in there for 10 minutes, and that's a compliment to the film because it just felt like it all connected together so well, that yeah, it felt like we was in there for an hour, and I was like, that was a great film.
was.
I was like, is that it over already? Like, and obviously the way it ends, potentially setting up a sequel, it would be excited to see what they do with that. But yeah, no, I thought all the characters were really cool. I really liked Tessa, I want to say as well.
Tessa,
Yeah, I really liked her character. I thought they could have showed more with her. I thought at the end because there's a scene where it shows where they're walking through the trees. I don't know what all the creatures and species are called, but there's a bit where they're walking through the trees where the trees attack you. That's why I'm going to call them trees.
Yeah.
They're probably not trees, but there's a bit where at the start the predator's like walking through them, and he's getting absolutely like ripped apart because he's new to like this environment and doesn't know what he's fighting against. And then there's a bit where it shows her walking through with her sort of crew, and she just like literally catches one with her arm. So I'm like, shit, there's going to be a big showdown at the end between Deck and Tessa, and I don't feel like we really get that fight as much as I wanted it. I don't think they really showed off essentially how powerful she could have been. But yeah, overall, I really liked the film. I thought it was really well paced. I thought it was fun. I thought the potential for a sequel was good. I would have liked to see more. I thought it would have been cool if we saw more of so like the first half of the film where Deck is sort of learning the environment. He's struggling sort of against the species and the different creatures and sort of getting help in hand. But then he's obviously building up that sort of family sort of feel. I thought it would have been better to see a darker side of him where he sort of rejected that a bit more to begin with, because he's meant to be like this scary predator. He's gone to the island to kill the Caslisk or whatever it's called. And I feel like he accepted them in a bit too early. So I thought it would have been good if he sort of pushed them away more at the start. And then as the film went on, accepted them into his sort of circle a bit more and sort of accepted that he needed help a bit more. But I did really like him as a character. I thought it was cool. I liked the way that, again, he grew throughout the film, at the end, sort of where it switches to he's learned as he's gone on, and he's learned sort of the environment and what he can use to his sort of advantage. So when you see him in like the last scene where he's like all geared up, basically, it's like you're starting on the game with like nothing, and you've got to like level 40. You've now got all the best gear. That's like what I felt it was like seeing him in those end stages. I was like, this is sick now, and he's wearing that. I can't remember what they called it, but the bone brisk mask thing that he had on. I was like, you look like a predator. Like you started off as like a low level, and now you're like a proper predator, and you've learned and adapted. And I was like, yeah, that's sick. So yeah, I really enjoyed it overall. I'm gonna give it. I don't know. To be fair, I didn't write my rating down. I'll probably give it an 8.5 out of 10 because I did really like it.
Solid
I think there's
score.
some things they could have changed to make it 10, but yeah, an 8.5 I think is a fair score for it.
Yeah, you put that.
And it,
You gave Sinners an 8.5.
okay,
And
yeah,
Bridget Jones, Mad About a Boy. They're the only 8.5s you've given to date. So
okay, yeah, it was very action packed. I loved it.
cool. Stephen, what did you think of the movie? And you aligned with Andy. What score would you give it out of 10?
So, guys, I can't believe some of the scores of this film. No, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I was trying to like see if I could bait, but no. I think it's one of those movies which I would find it really difficult for somebody to come out and say that they really didn't enjoy it, because it's one of those rare occasions where I'm like, I wouldn't say that it's absolutely perfect. I don't necessarily agree with some of the critiques that Andy is saying. I'm not saying that it's like a 10 out of 10, but I don't really know what you could object to the movie. I think that it's a very different Predator movie. And normally because I'm a sick, twisted individual, I quite like, dark, violent, brutal action movies, which the original Predator, the first two, are absolutely down that notion in terms of how the Predator goes about killing people. They've stripped it back and made it very family friendly.
I'm going to make an
And
argument there. I think the only reason, and I've seen other people say this, is because it's not red blood. There's a lot of green blood in this movie and other coloured blood.
there is,
They literally split, slight spoiler, they split a whole animal in half.
Yeah,
They
Because
do.
it's a fake animal that's not real, it's
Yeah.
considered not gory, but technically it's pretty gory.
Yeah, but
obviously
it's
in
more
the
like,
original it's like real people dying, so it's more gory in that sense.
I think it's
But
more
there's
like
still blood and guts and
fantasy.
stuff.
Yeah, I just think that it's not to the point where it would like disturb anybody. I
I
mean,
know,
it
and
was
that's why it's
kind
a
of
PG-12 or whatever.
it's a 12. I think it sits appropriately there, but I quite like that they've made it a bit more tame. Where normally I'm sort of the person that goes, well, it was dark in the first place, like the Alien movies. Why are you trying to appease a whole audience? But I actually give the movie props because I think it like knew its target audience and delivered to it really nicely. I really liked the Predator. I thought also visually this movie is one of the best looking movies that I've seen for a long time. I mean, I know that most movies on the cinema screen look great, but this was like, and maybe because I'm sort of so focused on graphics with the PS5 Pro that's all I'm thinking about at the moment. But it did look absolutely stunning. The wide shots of the island and the action set pieces, I think, looked really, really good. So that's another sort of great point. I thought the movie had great pacing. It certainly didn't feel like, what was it, an hour and like 47. I got sort of why sort of fear partnered with Det, because, well, we'll get to spoiler territory, but I understood why she behaved like that. And I think that Det realized that he needed her assistance to be able to take down who he wanted to. He wouldn't have been able to do that by himself. So I think even though he was quite reluctant in the early stages, and he sort of does sort of reject the other person that he teams up with as well. So that didn't really bother me too much. And I felt like if they started going more into that, the movie would have lost its pacing. I thought that, it was pretty much sort of one action set piece, a little bit of dialogue, then another action set piece. And I quite like that. I thought it had perfect pacing. I don't think there was anything really that needed to be longer or shorter. Perhaps maybe if they do a sequel, some of those things that could be further explored might be able to be looked at a little bit later down the line. The thing that I do agree with Andy is I do think that towards the end stages with the final boss battle, that was over a bit too quickly for my liking. that was the only point in the movie where I was like, oh, I was really enjoying that, and that was kind of a little bit steppy, although it does go into something else, which we'll also get to in spoiler territory. But I would have liked to have seen, like you said, what's the person's name? It was
Tessa.
Tessa. Yeah, that's it, Tessa.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Tessa sort of really show her capabilities, but then she is essentially leading a multi-corporation into taking down the big dude, I want to say.
Callus.
The Callus, that's it.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's using her cleverness and also that sort of dynamic with her and Tessa, we saw snippets of that, but maybe in the last battle we could have seen that a bit more. But all in all, like, it was one of those movies that sort of went in, went out. I didn't have to think too much about it. There was no sort of complicated parts to it. The front story matched up with the back story. Really good action set pieces. It's a weird one because I don't really know what I'm critiquing it for, if that makes sense. It's difficult for me to pinpoint why I'm not going to give it full marks. But I think sometimes a movie, if it does what it says on the tin, but doesn't blow me away, like, I wasn't blown away, I just really enjoyed it. I thought everything that it wanted to do, it did, and it did well. And that's kind of where I sit with it. I think I need to go back and revisit Prey, because then I can make a comparison. Because if I look at Prey and think, wow, that was even better, that could be the movie that is like your 9 or your 10. But I really can't remember Prey to be able to make that accurate comparison. But on its own, I thought it did its job, and it did its job really nicely.
So what score are you going to end up with?
I think I will go. I'm debating, do I go at 8.5? I'll go with Andy. I think 8.5 is fair. I think that's a fair score to put it at. It's definitely within sort of the 8s and above, and I'll put it somewhere in between like 9 and 8. But again, I sound really weird because it's like, well, why are you doing that? And I can't really tell you. It just doesn't have that sort of. So one battle after another floored me, like, absolutely. Wow. I know 2 very different movies, but I came out of that cinema screening going, I'm floored by that. I could easily go back and watch it. And as much as I would happily rewatch Predator Badlands, it wasn't to that point where I came out and was like, I've got to go back and rewatch that. I think I said to you, Andy, I was like, that was a really good film. I really enjoyed that. But that's kind of where it ended. And maybe I'm critiquing the film unfairly, because their argument would be, well, this is what we set out to do and we did it, so what else do you want? I'm kind of saying that I want more from a movie, but I don't really know what more I want from it. So that, and I hope that kind of comes across, that that's sort of my thought process with it. I've been trying to wrestle my brain, like, do I really give this a 10? But I was like, there's the other movies that I have given 10 are much better than Predator, but this is still a very good piece of work.
Okay, so 2 8.5s. Interesting. What do I think of this film? I think this film is one of my favorites of the year. I loved this film. I said I was a Predator fan at the beginning, and to be honest, I hadn't seen much before, like in terms of trailers. I didn't really watch many. I've not been to the cinema in ages, I realized the other day. Like when I went on Thursday, I was like, I don't remember when I was last here, so I probably missed all the trailers in the cinema form. And when knowing little, I've seen the posters. I knew I didn't know who she was before this film, to be honest, but Elle Fanning was in it. And I had heard that it was going to focus on the Predator being the protagonist for once.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know much else.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if it makes you feel better, I think I only saw one main trailer, and the trailer didn't really give too much away. I mean, if anything, I thought the trailer was going to make it a much more darker piece of work. And when I then saw that it got a 12, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But then I didn't really research too much. And actually going into it not knowing much is probably really good.
Yeah.
But I do think, I mean, I don't know if you remember the trailer, Andy, but there was a lot in that film that I hadn't seen at all, or had a snippet of what was to come. So I might have seen it in the trailer and just forgotten about it coincidentally, but I don't recall remembering. Sometimes subconsciously you'll remember bits and pieces from a movie because you've seen the trailer umpteen times, but that never crossed my mind once watching Badlands.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't remember watching the trailer. Definitely would have watched it, but yeah.
And I have to admit, when this film started, the way it starts, which you two missed, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to think of this. And then when Elle Fanning come into it, I was like, okay, don't know what I'm going to think of this. And I have to say, I think when you have something that's different to what you're used to, particularly in a franchise like this, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to like it because I like what I've had.
Yeah.
And having a Predator who is not the alpha, which they actually talk about in this, this like dominant thing who's like better than everything, can kill everything in an instant, and also introducing like a friendship. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right way to go. I really don't know if it's the right way to go. And then to end how it ends and just the whole film, I was like, you've proved me wrong. You've proven me
Yeah.
so wrong. I still like the other movies. This doesn't make me think this is. Well, actually, I will say it. This is my favorite of the Predator franchise.
Oh,
Is
okay.
it recency bias? Maybe. I don't think it is. I love Prey. Prey was my favorite before today. So this director has got it nailed because I also love Killer of Killers. So he's obviously doing a very, very good job with the franchise. And I hope. Sorry, I had to cough. I hope he gets to continue. I hope he is the one to
Yeah.
take this forward.
I hope so too.
Even if it's
Yeah.
just on a producing role or like some sort of overseeing role. Almost like a Kevin Feige at Marvel. Obviously not to that level.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would like him to be involved because so far he's free for free. And that is pretty unheard of in a franchise like this or Alien. Like, it's hard to do this.
Yeah.
But I just loved it. I thought Deck was great. I thought Elle Fanning was fantastic. I
Yeah.
am stunned at how good she was. Considering the first 5 minutes of her, I was like, I'm not sure. By the end of it, I was like, I want you in the next one. Like,
So,
you're just so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I'll tell you a funny story regarding Elle Fanning, right? So all the way through the movie, in my head, I was like, that isn't Cara Delevingne, is it? And the reason why I say that is that Cara Delevingne in like the voice of Cara in GTA 5, she was also then in American Horror Story, like in a recent series, and her voice changes. So I've seen her in like 3 different things where she does not sound the same. And although now looking at it, they don't really look alike. In my whole way through the movie, I was like, "Is it Cara Delevingne?" And I did break the code of conduct and whispered over to Andy, but he didn't hear me. And it was the end of the movie that I was like, "Is that Cara Delevingne?" And then when I go, I was like, "Oh no, it's Elle Fanning, the sister to Dakota Fanning." But it's really crazy when you spend a whole movie thinking it's one person to then realize that it's somebody completely different. Because I don't think I've seen Elle Fanning in anything recent, maybe. But she was terrific.
Yeah.
Like, she was funny, and you know, she grounded the story and sort of kind of drives it forward. And I'm assuming that when she starts to get to going with the Predator, was that the point where you're like, oh, okay, this is in. Like, I'm here for this.
I don't know what the point was. I liked some of the humor, but then I was like, you know, when you're liking it and you're thinking, but should this be in this film? Like, should I be laughing at Predator?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
by the end of it, I was like, why was I thinking like a Predator doesn't have to be like Predator 1 every time. If it was like
Yeah,
Predator
yeah.
1 every time, we'd be like, oh, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
they did something different. I like that they dashed a bit of comedy in it. It wasn't too much. That's the good thing. This wasn't a
No.
For Love and Thunder situation where
Yeah,
it goes over
yeah,
the
it
top.
wasn't.
This was very much when it was needed in good moments, and even like Deck, even his attempts to be funny wasn't funny. Do you know what I mean? But then when you realize, even she's like, "Oh, that was a
Yeah.
joke," and you were like, "Oh, I see."
Yeah.
You delivered it so
It,
crap, it made it funny, like
Yeah.
purposefully, obviously, because
yeah.
he doesn't understand humor. And
It wasn't
obviously,
even
they tried
awkward
to be
either.
emotional as well in this film. Sorry, Stephen.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say that the humor wasn't awkward either. So that was also really good.
Yeah, and yeah, I like the humor, the emotional side. I liked it. I liked that they showed maybe like what they do show how a predator has family, and how they think of family not quite the same as us. Don't get me wrong, but he loved his brother and stuff like that, and wanted to do things for his brother, whatnot. But I just thought it was fantastic. I think your point at the beginning, Andy, where it's just action packed. At one point, I was like, when
Yes.
is this going to stop? Like, when are we going to have a moment to just calm down? Because it was just non-stop from the beginning until about the first time they sit down like at a campfire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like,
Let's
oh
get
my
that
God,
checkpoint.
like, this is like finally we can stop. And that wasn't for long. Then it goes straight back in.
No.
I loved that they had this planet, which is just like the Death Planet, I think they called it. and like everything there just wanted to kill you. I thought it's a simple concept, but a
Yeah.
great concept, especially for a predator. And
It's
it
like
was
there's always something above you in the table in the food chain.
yes, and they showed that off very nicely as well
Mm.
in some of the scenes.
Mm.
I'm very
I
sorry, my cough is much worse than I thought it
it's
was.
alright. I've also just seen a really interesting point that relates to our previous episode of the Late Night Movie Podcast. So this director, Dan Trachtenberg, is an executive producer on Strange Things. He was unable to work on the final season because of his production to Predator Killer of Killers. So the voice of the onboard computer for ship, which I don't think is a spoiler, is voiced by the creators of Strange Things, the Duffer Brothers. So the Duffer Brothers are in Predator Badlands as the voice of
Really?
the onboard computer. Yeah.
I mean, that's a
And
very, very small cameo, but still, that's cool.
it's a very small cameo, and he did that as a way of thanking the Duffer Brothers for him being one of the executive producers. So that makes me feel really part of confidence, because if you work on Stranger Things, you know what you're doing. So, and
That also
now that you
worries me
mentioned
for
it,
Stranger Things that he's not in season 5 because he's fantastic.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they've got a lot of other
Yeah.
really good producers and the Duffer Brothers. So even though
Yeah.
maybe he wasn't able to work on it, he's still talking to the Duffer Brothers, and he's probably like an unofficial producer because he's probably produced the first 4 seasons. But
Yeah.
I just read that and I was like, okay, that's actually really cool.
Well, I
That
don't
is
know
very
if
cool.
they've released any details on it, but they're doing like an animated series, aren't they, for Stranger Things?
Yes.
And I wonder if he's going to be working on that.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be because the Duffer Brothers are leaving, aren't they? They're leaving Netflix to go Paramount or somewhere. Someone snapped them up.
It's not was it HBO?
It
might
could be. It
Paramount,
could be
actually.
HBO actually. They're
One of the
they're
big. I
take the
did
big
see
ones.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Most of the things I want to talk about are probably spoilery, but the action was fantastic. The ending, I see your point, Sandy, in terms of like the final fight, but for me, I loved the whole
Well,
moment. Like,
because
as
obviously
in, go on.
there's another fight at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah,
Isn't
no,
there?
I know
Like, I
what one
don't.
you're on about.
Yeah,
You're on about the one with
yeah,
Tessa. Um,
yeah.
but the whole sequence when he goes back to that place and that whole moment,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, I loved it.
fucking loved it.
That's
And
when
there's
he
one
like
bit in
leveled up.
particular I
He was like
really
fully
want to
powered
talk
up.
about. I really want to put one
Yeah.
particular thing.
Okay.
But it was fantastic, and I didn't mind that fight wasn't what I really wanted because I don't know. For me, what they did was fine, and
Yeah.
if I had to nitpick anything in this film, I would say a bit more emotional impact. I didn't care enough about some of the. It sounds weird. I thought Elle Fanning was great, but I was never worried for her. I mean, she was in her body
Yeah.
was split in half the whole time, so I was never concerned for her. And the emotional thing they did was like, yeah, I'm not. That's not going to get me. So that's probably the next step I would say is somehow get that emotional punch from me. But other than that, I love this film, and I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Whoa.
Hey.
Okay. Nice. That's going to put it high on our list.
Yeah.
I am very excited for movie of the year, and I'm hoping that you two are going to have this somewhere in your top 10. Because I don't think Jack has seen it yet. He'll obviously be involved.
I think maybe not emotional punch, but with the little creature, some of the facial expressions were quite
Yeah, and that's the bit I was on about. That bit wasn't going to get me, but we'll go into that in spoilers. But
no, I also think the more that I think about it, that fight, not the final fight, but the actual fight with Tessa, I think if it had had a bit more that we see more capabilities of Tessa, I think that's a pinpoint. I think that would then take it to a 9 or a 10 for me, because I think I would have been wowed if we saw different levels. I know why, because of the pace of the movie and what we get to, which we'll talk about in spoiler territory. But I think that was the thing, that even though I was generally super impressed throughout the whole movie, I didn't have that wow moment. And I feel like that wow moment could have been there if they had just gone a little bit further with the fight with Tessa.
I think
Maybe.
it's a good point, actually. I would probably say that a better villain. Not that Tessa's a bad one, but she's not the best. And
she starts off well, but it's just the payout is a bit like, And I know obviously then we get something else that if we didn't get that, then I would be really marking the movie down, because it could have been like really promising and then doesn't have a great final act, which it does, but just a little bit more with the test boss battle. And I think then we're talking about a movie that is going to be out there. Problem is though, Welchy, there's so many good films this year. It's up against some really tough competition, but it's a contender for sure.
we've got about 15 minutes left, so I want to go into spoilers. So anyone listening who hasn't seen this film and wants to, we're not going to be talking about anything else after this, so you might want to leave and come back when you have seen it. If you don't care about spoilers, then please do feel free to stay and listen to our thoughts. Final warning, we're going into spoilers now. So obviously, I don't know if I knew this or didn't know this, but this is heavily linked to the Alien franchise, with the Weyland Yutani being mentioned multiple times. Because obviously, technically, the original Predator films are not linked. Technically, then the only linking films are Alien and Alien vs Predator, but they're not supposed to be part of either universe. They're meant to be this kind of separate thing.
Yeah.
This one is like, we're in the universe. We're in. And I was like, oh shit! Straight away, I was like, that's an interesting choice. Are you setting us up for another Alien vs Predator? And if you are, do not fuck it up. Please do not fuck it up.
I don't think it will. Like, if they do another one, like, I don't think they will fuck it up, because, like, after watching Alien Earth, the series, and then watching this film, I was like, hearing that name, I was like, oh shit! I'm buzzed. I'm hyped. Like, whatever you've got planned going forward, I'm excited to hear more of those names being chucked around.
It's such a hard thing not to fuck up, though, because I think it's so easy to fuck up, because they fuck. I know you like the first one, Stephen, but they kind of did fuck them up.
Yeah, I suppose
it hasn't seen them, so I can't judge too much.
The other sort of point is, do we really need? It would be great if they're in the same universe, but do we actually really need the Alien and the Predator to go against each other?
I kind of agree with you. I'm happy for them to admit they're in the same universe. Have your little Easter eggs.
It'd be cool getting those little Easter eggs.
Yeah, or it could be something that, like,
film, personally.
I'm assuming. I mean, I know I need to go back and revisit Alien Earth, because I'm told that the second half is much better at the moment. It hasn't piqued my interest, but when I get round to it, maybe. So I'm assuming they're going to do another series of.
It was announced last week, wasn't it, Andy? Or 2
weeks
ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe they will do an episode that isn't Alien versus Predator, that something happens after Badlands that links between the next film and something happens in Alien Earth as a two. But we don't need them going against each other. If anything, would be quite cool if they actually, like, maybe, I don't know, teamed up. Why have they got to fight? Why don't we get a universe where?
I don't know what they'd called it, though, because, like, it would be cool to see the Predator and, like, Alien in the same film, but not against each other. But then it's like, it'd be like half Alien film, half Predator film. So it's like, I don't know how they'd do it and make it work well without having it go against each other.
And also, the Alien movies still are playing to an older audience than what Predator are. So they would have to either tone down the Alien or up the Predator. And I think at the moment, both work in their own batches. Maybe just have a cool couple of Easter eggs. Or
No, sorry, I was just going to add, I think it'd be cool just to hear, like, if, like, Alien Earth season 2, or like whether if they start a new show or movie, just hearing them mention, like, oh yeah, our crew got wiped out on Death Planet, whatever it's called, like, just hear like little Easter eggs like that in the Alien franchise.
The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I actually think it'd be quite cool. We tried them going against each other, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Not saying they've got to work on the same team, but maybe they're both there, like the Alien. They mutate the Alien. We don't get maybe an Alien that's really bad. I don't know what they would do, but do something. Don't do verses. Try and find a different way to incorporate both of them in, or just have it as like they're in the same universe as a sort of Easter egg.
See,
I would be terrified if they try that again.
I don't want to spoil Alien Earth for you, but there are ways they can do it without actually having the alien. So what I'm trying to say is there are other creatures in Alien Earth.
Yeah,
I would love to see in Predator, and I think you know exactly what I'm on about, Andy.
The bloody sheep, probably.
Well, not the sheep, obviously, but that thing.
Yeah, I know.
I just put that in that, and all of a sudden they're sharing the same universe without sharing the main creatures. I think that might be the way to go for me.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
But anyway,
can I also ask, Welchy, the start of the film? So what did we actually miss? That would really help.
Andy, what bit did you come into?
So I joined when the dad was literally in front of the brother, and he's telling the brother to kill Deck, and he's like locked him up in some like the laser handcuffs, whatever that's called. And
you see
obviously the brother's
well, right?
like,
he gets his you see at the end, Stephen. So that red thing that he got his dad stuck in.
Yeah, I saw the flashback, which made absolutely
Yeah.
no sense to me because I missed all
Oh,
that. But
yeah.
when I watched that, I was like, I'm assuming that is part of the beginning of the film that I
Yeah.
didn't see.
Yeah.
The brother's literally standing there with sword about to like chop off his brother's head, Dex's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he launches in. He cuts him free, uses his thing to lock him back into the spaceship, and then obviously fights his brother fights his dad. He dies, and he's like, and then his brother like one last thing launches him off to the planet, and his dad's just like holding up his head as he's like flying off. I'm like, oh, you mean motherfucker? But I was like, that's why I jumped into the film though, like him finding his brother. I was like, what happened before that? And then obviously we see the bit where in the film, like their crew gets wiped out, like they go back to the crash site where so obviously Thea lost her legs.
Yeah.
I was like, did we miss a bit at the start of the film where you see that happen?
No,
Okay.
that's just showing the crash site there, because she mentions that they were there and whatever. So all you really missed, well, I say all you missed, you did miss a chunk. So it starts off with Deck, but I think he's got a mask on. Anyway, two predators fighting each other, and it's him against his brother. And essentially, his brother, I can't remember his name, Dwayne or something? Dwayne?
Yeah, it's like Kwei. I don't know how you say it, but yeah.
He basically lets him fall down, but Deck like kind of survives, and he comes back saying, "I'm not dead yet, brother." And he says like, "You're too weak," whatever, along those lines. And they go back to this ship thing that you saw him fly off on.
Yeah.
And they're talking, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you missed that." So he's saying, I want to earn my cloak." So at the end of the film, you see him earn his cloak. He takes his dad's cloak.
Yeah.
So there's obviously, then you kind of realize, oh, there's some sort of, you have to pass something, some sort of test to prove your worth to get that cloak. Which was one thing I was quite annoyed about, is that we didn't really get that in the film. It's a great payoff that you get it at the end. But
yeah.
The main thing with the Predator has is that invisibility. So not having that throughout the film was like a.
But I feel like if there's a sequel though, he's now got his cloak. The way it ends with his mother's ship coming in,
and a clan on top of that. So he's got the cloak and the clan.
I don't know if he's gonna like go against them.
It looked like to me like the clan was still against him, but that's
I'm
to
not
be interpreted.
his own. You know what he says?
His clan, yes,
yeah. So what I mean, he's got that, and then his cloak, and that's going to be the start of having that team together.
And basically, he's on the ship, and he says, his brother, I can't remember how it goes, but basically he says, "I'm going to go on my hunt. I'm going to go on my hunt and bring back a trophy." And they're flicking through these planets, and there's probably some Easter eggs in there, but I didn't notice any. There might have even been an alien reference. I didn't notice it, but and then it comes up that one of the creatures is the Callisk, and then he keeps going, and Deck goes, "Oh, go back. What's that one?" And he's like, "No, you can't go to that one. Like no one's done it." And he said, "Even father's scared of this one." And these two are like they like worship their father, like they're like terrified of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you don't go to the Callisk. And he's like, "No, I'm that's where I'm going." And he's like,
"I've
set my soul on it." And then his dad turns up, and his dad says, "Why haven't you done it yet? Why haven't you killed your brother?" So you realise, oh shit, he wanted his son dead. Fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, he deserves his hunt." And he said, "No, he's the runt of the family. He's the weakest. Show a weakness." He's like, oh, whatever it was. He said something like,
I think I saw that bit.
Showing kindness to the weak is a weakness itself. Something along those lines, basically calling him weak as well. And says, "Kill him now," and then that's where you get in. And then
so
Stephen, you missed that, and then he chops his head off, chops his brother's head off, shows it to him as he's flying away on a ship. So the Kwei, or whatever his name was, has something on his arm, which meant he sent the ship to the coordinates of the Callisk. And I think he even says before he goes, like, "Go and get that Callisk," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then he crash lands at the planet.
Like, go get your trophy.
And that's probably where you
So was that like, what, 20 minutes?
Not a short amount of time. I'd say at least 15. Because you got the whole fight at the beginning, which is probably 5 minutes. Them chatting, father, maybe 10 to 12, 15, around that time. You missed a chunk, but the main plot of the film is on this other planet.
Which when it launches on Disney Plus, which it absolutely will, I will go back and watch that first 15 minutes. But both me and Andy agreed that it still didn't really affect. We got what was going on, and the flashback at the end, it was a little bit like, oh, okay, we can kind of understand. But I think having seen that the ending would probably be even more of a payoff.
Yes.
So it'd be good to rewatch that and really. I don't think it would have changed. Like, well, I can't speak for Andy. It wouldn't have changed my score even if I'd seen that. I would have probably still kept it to the score that I gave it. But it was one of those where we were kind of able to crash land. We were able to follow what was happening once
From
he
the
crash
crash
landed
landing,
onto
yeah.
the planet. Because when the titles popped up, I was like, oh, maybe we haven't missed that much.
No, yeah.
And then when we saw that flashback, I was like, okay, no, maybe we have actually. Again, it's so frustrating. I hate that little missing bit. It's like I never want to go to the toilet during a film because I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
So I only do that if I absolutely cannot hold it anymore.
I'm the same, and the only time I've recently that I've done that is when I went with my daughter to watch Inside Out 2, and I was fuming. I was like, oh my god, I'm loving this film. Why are we going to the toilet? So I've had to watch it since on Disney to catch up on that 5 minutes. We've only got 10 minutes, so I want to get into some of the points. One of my points where I was like, this film is amazing, like so clever, so well done, funny, action packed, blah blah blah, was the fight scene at the end, not the end, but the main ending, when they're going through taking all these people out, and the legs, man, the legs just walking through.
I was waiting for the legs. Yeah.
First of all, the idea of the legs just taking them to the place, I thought was genius. Like it's going back to the body, clever. And then it carrying on, but then fighting, the legs just fighting on their own. But then there was the bit where she was fighting with her arms and teaming up with her legs. I was like, this is genius. It's so it's such a simple idea, but it's so funny.
It was choreographed really well. Like was hilarious. I mean, in our screening there was a lot of laughs while that scene was played. That's for good reason. It's so funny, but doesn't detract from the action as well. So it's done like really, really well.
And then the other funny bit with that is when she's kind of betrayed Deck. She said, "Oh, I've called my team here."
Yeah,
she's gonna glue herself up. And then Deck gets thrown in. Deck gets thrown in.
And then she's like, "For God's sake!" I also like that's what I didn't object to because she had a purpose that she was desperate to see what she regarded as her sister. So she did betray Deck, but then when she realised what the corporation were doing and the fact that they were going to take Deck as a subject, I mean that bit when he's like tied up and he's getting sort of essentially tortured, that bit I was like, oh fuck, this is a bit brutal. But it was at that point where she realised that actually they're not the good guys here, and Deck hasn't done anything wrong. That in her mind it was then like a sea change, like a switch. So I said I had no issue with that. And it made sense when you realise that actually she has betrayed. And as soon as they were in that little like caravan, I was like, oh yeah, I could tell for a mile off that was going to happen. As soon as we got there, I could tell that she was going to turn on him. Which I don't often always see those plot moments, but I was like, but this has got betrayal written all over it. Also,
you mean as in like when they were still friends that you thought you saw the betrayal coming?
Yeah, I felt something was off.
I didn't see that.
I felt in my mind, I was like that something is uneasy here. It was just the way that you sometimes just get that feeling that not always what you seem. The other bit that I also loved was the grass with the knife.
Oh, the razor grass.
Yeah, that was a great concept. And just like the idea of that, like what you could just get through, and because obviously he wasn't the strongest predator, it's like, oh no, you're gonna get like ripped to shit. And then those things exploded and paralyzed him, and it was like, oh man, this is awesome. So the action early on was like, this is sick.
I liked how the planet was just a whole death trap. I thought everything was bloody
pretty
well
much.
Done. And then she said, oh, there's like June bugs or something, whatever bugs she called them. So you're thinking there's these little things in the trees. And it's this massive sprawling mouth with 4 legs. I was like, what the fuck?
Do you know what? It's like a futuristic. If John Kramer had lived forever from like the Saw movies and created a planet that was essentially a death trap, it might have been a little bit like that with fucking like razor bits of grass. And every turn you're sitting there thinking, I don't know how you're going to get out of this. It's the first Predator movie that I've watched where I generally didn't think at times the Predator may survive this. Which the Predator has always categorically been this.
Which is what I think some people will be like, the Predator should be this.
But I like
that. Killer. Yes.
Yeah, by the end of the movie, he does. I mean, and in that final 2 boss battles, you really see that.
Yeah.
You see that trajectory, and he believes in himself. Coincidentally as well, it gets saved multiple times at the beginning of the movie. Firstly, by Elle Fanning's character, and then the little creature as well. So you're sitting there going, well, he's been bailed out a number of times, and then over the course, he just gets more and more powerful. And what I also liked is that they didn't really have this thing of we're putting a plan together. It was like, okay, she's been taken away. We're now going to go and rescue her. Next scene, you just start seeing some of the girls just getting absolutely wiped down, cut in half. And we're like, all right, we're now at a rescue mission. Didn't really need to explain it. We know
No.
what's going on. Let's do it. And I like that.
You went. I don't know if you realized before he said it, but he come to the realization that the little creature was the Kalisk's child.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only time I kind of clocked onto that was when he went to eat him and sniffed him, and I was like,
Yes,
he can smell the
That's
spit
when-
that he had spat on him earlier.
That's what I knew.
But then when you then looked in his face, he was like, oh, I can see it. It's a much bigger version of the little one.
And I'm gonna be level. I didn't spot that bit. It was only when it was. And I was like, oh, okay, that now makes more sense. So the unsubtle bit, I got. The subtle bit, like I didn't get. But I like that as well, and that now then made a lot more sense as to why that he was constantly coming to death rescue.
The thing with the creature though is I don't know if they just grow quickly, but obviously when he goes back to his homeland or planet, I don't know how many years that jumps ahead because all of a sudden he's fucking quite big, the little creature, isn't he?
Yes, good point. That's a very good point. I didn't actually consider that, what the time jump would have been. I mean,
maybe they just grow exponentially.
Yeah, I kind
really,
of thought.
Really answer that.
I kind of thought. There's one point where I thought, is the death of the dad, mum? I think it said mum in the end. Does that like trigger something?
Yeah, the mum.
Because I thought he was going to grow like straight away and then take out Tessa. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Okay.
So that's a thought that come into my head, was like, does the child not grow until its family is gone, kind of thing? But I think it's probably just a time.
Yeah.
How long it takes to travel in space.
Because what I thought they was going to do with the plot is I thought, especially when she like blows up inside and kills the mum, I thought, is she going to realize actually she's got a child? It's going to be a lot easier to take that child back to Yutani than this whole massive caskless thing.
Yeah.
But they didn't go down that route. So, but I thought that's potentially what they was going to do at some point with that.
And again, in the sequel, there might be more exploration, and we'll find out a bit more about how that young creature works. So there's still unanswered questions at the end of it of exactly how do they grow, how do they mutate, how far are we further ahead. So maybe I think they might have done that deliberately to then explore that a bit more in the next film potentially.
Another thing we've really got to end up in a minute, but I wanted to happen was him to get the Kalisk and win and show it to his dad and be like, fuck you. I still wanted him to go in and kill his dad like he did, but I wanted him to be like, look, you couldn't do it, I could do it. And then when this Kalisk kept regenerating, I was like,
shit, yeah, he like literally chops off its head.
I was like, oh shit, he's done it. And then I thought, okay, we're not near the end of the film, so something else is going to happen. And then it grew. I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, oh, here we go again.
So
yeah,
I kind of disappointed that he didn't get that moment. Obviously, he showed the robot head, which his dad was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, he didn't know what it was. It's like, obviously to him, it was like he's proved himself.
And
he's
technically,
happy himself that he's
Tessa
done that.
killed the Kalisk, which means he killed the thing that killed the Kalisk.
True.
But I thought the way they ended up killing the Kalisk was clever, and I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I just thought Tessa was a goner. And then from inside the Kalisk, she blew him up or froze him and smashed him to pieces, which is probably literally the only way you could have killed him. At first, obviously the Predator is like right next to it, and I was like, put his head on him.
I thought he had done something to like trigger that, and then I was like, shit, like what's he done? Like, is he after all that building and like friendship and bonding, he's like I'm getting my trophy. Like I said, I was getting my trophy. I'm still getting it. And then obviously you realise that she's blown up from the inside. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure if we was going to get more from Tessa at that point as well, to be like, this is how strong I am. Like I'm still going to fight. But then he just kills her. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Any final points before we wrap it up?
No, I think overall, I think it's. yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good film. I'm excited to see, obviously, you see Mother's ship come towards the end. What's going to
Yes.
happen? Like, is she scarier than the dad? Like, you don't really hear much about her. I have a feeling that she's going to be even higher up than his
Yeah.
father.
The thing is, it wouldn't
Uh,
surprise me if they don't do a sequel though. Like
no,
right now, they're
but
having a lot of success from doing these
doing
one-off
solos, yeah, I
stories.
do get that. But did I can't remember how Prey ends, but do they? I feel like the end of this film, they do set up a lot of potential for a sequel. I don't know exactly what the route would be with it because he's sort of done his hunt. He's got what he wanted.
Hmm.
He's got his cloak. I don't
Yeah.
know what route they go down, but
We,
they've obviously like when you show something like that at the end and hype it up, it's like
yeah.
we're excited for something to continue on from that. Otherwise, just don't show like they could have just ended it with all the rest
Yeah.
of his clan coming out. Don't show the mothership coming there. Don't even mention it if you're not even
Yeah.
gonna think about a sequel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
We may not get one like for another couple of years. It could be like another 3 year gap between
Yeah, definitely. I
2025
think
and
it'll be a
28,
while.
maybe.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder if they ever do a TV show with Predator because they've done the Alien.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say Killer of Killers, but that's not. That's a movie as well. So, um, I don't see why they wouldn't. They could easily do it, and I trust him to do it as
Yep.
well, the director. So, um, I think he should just his career now should just be Predator for me.
Yeah.
Also, when you have a good director, you want him to do other things because you don't know what else they could do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is going to do it for tonight's episode of the Late Night Movie Podcast. Let us know your thoughts on Predator Badlands. Do you agree with any of our ratings? Well, I guess we're all pretty much aligned, 8.5 or 9. Do you agree, or do you think this is a bit more of a failure? Let us know. Drop your thoughts in the comments or tag us on socials at the Late Night Pods. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed the episode, then please do make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you're listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Speaking of which, next time we will be reviewing both The Black Phone 2 and Roofman. You won't want to miss that one. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I've been your host, Welchy, and my co-hosts have been Andy
Yeah, thank you as always, guys. It's been a pleasure.
and Stephen.
Yeah, been a pleasure as always, guys, and looking forward to talking about the Black Throne 2 in particular.
Thank you again for listening and watching, and we will see you next time.